Hi, I'm Adam Halper. I'm a mediator, collaborative attorney, and parenting coordinator. Sometimes, infrequently, someone will approach me to be a mediator for their divorce or their separation. And in the discussion, during that initial discussion, they'll tell me a few things that kind of resonate very loudly and kind of signal to me that they may not be in such a safe position in connection to their partner, and that what's really happening in terms of their relationship, and indeed at the moment that they are splitting and coming to me, is more reminiscent of domestic violence. So what is domestic violence, and what is mediation, and when is it on the line, and when should you come to me, and when should you really think about something else? So domestic violence is many, many things, but at its very core, it's about control, right? Domestic violence is about control. It's about intimidation. It's about emotional abuse. It's about isolating someone. It's about economic abuse and gender privilege. And I say that with full conscious that I identify as male. And it has a long and deep history, but effectively it's about controlling somebody else with whom you are intimate and have an intimate relationship. Mediation, on the other hand, is a facilitated discussion, and it has a lot of things built into it, not the least of which is that people are voluntarily there and they're reaching a mutually acceptable agreement voluntarily. And they're not doing so because they're scared. They're not doing so because they fear repercussions. They're not doing so because they fear for their own safety or that of their children. They're doing so because they're more or less on equal footing with the other person in the room, and they're ready to have that discussion, and they're ready to have transparency in that discussion. um, yeah. So in any event, here are some questions, because I think that very often when people are coming to me, they don't necessarily know the answers to these. I certainly don't know. It's something that is happening to them, with them, and to say I'm a survivor of domestic violence or I'm not a survivor, it's not so simple. So here are a couple of questions to ask before you approach me, if this video is resonating for you at all. First of all is, do I have agency? Am I able to say no in a mediation? Can I say no if I'm presented with something or an option or an idea that I don't like? And am I okay in doing that? Is the other person in the room going to follow through? If we come to an agreement, are they going to follow through on it, whether it be an interim agreement or a permanent agreement? Because one of the interesting things about people who perpetrate domestic violence is that they're always changing the goalposts, which is an interesting way to exert control. Is there going to be mutuality? Kind of something I said before. If I make a move, are they going to make a move? And are we going to be able to come together? And last but not least, am I going to be safe? Which is always a real question. So if it hangs in the balance and you're saying, well, there's been some really tough moments between me and my ex-partner, or my about to be ex-partner, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I'd like to try to mediation, and I'd like to try and mediate. Well, here's a couple of thoughts. One is maybe consider going to mediation with your attorneys present. Having attorneys in the room while you're mediating might be a way to kind of alleviate whatever anxiety you're feeling. It might be a way to have someone speak for you, obviously have an advocate there, and it might alleviate any of the concerns where that some of the things I just mentioned. Second, maybe mediation isn't right for you and the collaborative process is right for you. And I've said some about this in other videos. I'll talk about it again. But in the collaborative process, it assumes a team, including attorneys, and it's a process whereby you're not thrown into a three-way discussion between you, the other person, and the mediator, and you're all alone. It's a team approach, and I can talk about that more. Last but not least, consider none of those and consider going to court. The court has a lot built into it that protects people, protects children who are engaged in these situations. And at the end of the day, even if you want to avoid that, you want to avoid the exposure, you want to avoid that spotlight that is on you, maybe it's the better considered approach as opposed to trying to engage in a discussion with somebody who demonstrates a lot of behavior that they can't really have that discussion with you. I'm going to leave a national hotline number in the drop-down menu or below, and I would encourage you, if this really felt like it had any meaning for you whatsoever, to delete your browsing history and that you ever watch this video, and stay safe. I'm Adam Halper. Thanks for watching.